I promise you we're very close now to actually designing your own database and creating the objects in that database like tables and forms, queries, and reports. But just before we do, I want to bring your attention to the Access options. You have full control over how your Microsoft Access application works. And you can access those options by going up to the top left corner and clicking the Office button and coming down to the very bottom where you'll find Access options. Give that a click. Alright, right now for me, Customize is selected. Yours may be something else, but click on Customize, because under Customize you're going to see something familiar to you if you went through a previous lesson where we talked about the Quick Access toolbar. This is the exact same information for adding and removing and reordering the buttons that appear on your Quick Access toolbar. Here are the actual commands or buttons that now appear on my Quick Access toolbar in this order. But if I wanted to add any, I can go to any one of these commands, which falls under the popular commands category, and just simply add, or with it selected, remove. Now, if I wanted to just select from different groups of commands, I can come down here, or if I want to see them all, I can choose all commands, and I get a full alphabetical listing of absolutely every command that can go on my Quick Access toolbar. But we covered this already in a previous lesson, so we're going to move on, and we're going to start at the top here of our list under Popular. As soon as we click Popular, you can see here's where we go to change the most popular options in Access. For example, ClearType. ClearType is an option that smooths out fonts and makes them look sharper and crisper on our screen. It takes a little more resources out of your computer. So with it always turned on like this, you know you can speed up performance if you wanted to by deselecting it. So any of these options can be turned on or off, including the color scheme and screen tips, for example. When we're creating databases, you can see the default file format, and this is an important one, is set to Access 2007 by default. This is a new format that users of previous versions of Access will not be able to open up your files unless they have Access 2007. So if you do share with others, you may want to change your default to something else like Access 2002, 2003, for example, or even go all the way back to Access 2000. I'm going to leave it at 2007, and I know that this format's fine for me because I won't be sharing. At least I won't be sharing with anyone who's got an older version of Access. The default database folder where my database files are stored is my documents. You can see it right here under Documents. I can change that using the Browse button. The new database sort order is set to General. There's all kinds of languages to choose from down here, but we'll leave it at General. And we can also personalize our copy of Office, Microsoft Office. This applies to all of the applications in Microsoft Office, not just Access. So the username David Rivers and the initials DR will be attached to the files I save in any of the Office applications. All right, let's go to Current Database, and here we're going to see options for the current database. That's the one I have open right now, which is my personal inventory database. And you can see the display form that comes up is my home inventory list by default. The status bar is displayed. There's all kinds of options for working with this database. There's a navigation section. The navigation pane is enabled, so I can see it here. The ribbon is also enabled. Autocorrect options for name tracking in there as well. We won't go into detail on every single option, but just so you know where to go to make those changes. If I go to Datasheet now, customize the way datasheets look in Access by changing their font colors, background colors, grid lines. You can see cell effects down here. The default font that I'm using is this one, Calibri. It's size 11 points, but I can change that if I wanted to. Even the appearance using underlining and italics. I'm not going to make any changes here. I'm going to move on to Object Designers. So in Table Design, Query Design, and Forms Design, you can see we've also got down at the bottom error checking, all kinds of options to work with when we're designing any of these items. The one that's important that I want to draw your attention to is under Table Design. The default field, unless we choose something different, is a text field containing 255 characters max. So we could change that if we use a lot of numeric fields, for example. We could change it to number, but you can see there's all kinds of different field types to choose from. But if the most common one's going to be text, I'm going to leave it at text. We've also got some proofing options. This is important, especially autocorrect options if you like them or don't like them. There are some that I like and don't like, and this is where I go to turn them on or turn them off. Ignore words in uppercase. is turned on, and ignore words that contain numbers is important when working with a database because you may have fields that are combinations of characters and numbers. We don't want them automatically corrected or to appear as spelling mistakes. We're ignoring internet and file addresses as well. So obviously www.lynda.com is not in any dictionary, but it appears like an internet address, so it won't show up as a spelling mistake. Flag repeated words is turned on. That's kind of important. Under the autocorrect options, you can click here to get a whole bunch more and turn any of those off that annoy you by clicking this button. For example, 2 initial capitals, capitalized names of days is turned on if you don't like that. Correct accidental use of caps lock key, I do like that one. And you can see down below a whole list of items that will be replaced with something different. So of course you can add to this, and you can turn off or remove any of these as well. So this all applies to any of the applications in the Office suite, not just Access. Any changes you make are carried through the entire suite. There is an advanced section, and you can see we've got some editing options that can be turned on and off. Display, printing, look at the margins for printing. If you don't like those, you can change them. So I encourage you to go through all of these categories and see if there are things that you tend to get annoyed by and turn them off, or if there are things you feel are missing, turn them on. There's an add-ins, a trust center, and a resources tab as well. So I'm going to click cancel down below. I haven't made any changes. I don't want to make any changes. I'm going to accept the defaults as we go through this title. But it was very important for me to let you know that from the Office button, you can access the Microsoft Access options by clicking this button to change any of your work environment settings.